Just when you thought the 49ers might possibly have a good draft, this is what they go and do. Let's dive in.
ThaAuthenticTake, the real, no fake. ThaAuthenticTake.
So the 49ers during the John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan regime have been notoriously bad at drafting. I mean, do I gotta really say who? Trey Lance, among others that we've long forgotten. But this year I kind of had a feeling that we could possibly turn things around. While it seems like this might be the last year, the last shot for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan as a whole. And while they went into the first round of the 2026 NFL draft, I was kind of liking what they did. They traded their 27th pick in the first round. They traded to the 30th pick. They didn't see what they wanted, so they traded to the 33rd pick, which was the first pick of the second round. And going into that second round, they were projected to get wide receiver Denzel Boston. But instead, they get Deshaun Striblin, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. And my hunch is the reason that they got him because he's not really a yak guy or a crazy great wide receiver, but because he's a good blocking wide receiver, which, you know, in the Shanahan offense, you can't just catch the ball, you gotta block too. Which is not a bad thing, but I don't know about this pick. And if they weren't going to get Denzel Boston, I really wanted the guard out of Oregon. That his name is slipping my mind right now, but we didn't get him, so who cares? But I was very disappointed with that. And I was really hoping that we would get, some, offensive line help, whether it was guard or tackle, because I feel like the way the 49ers have been going after this is that Trent Williams, since he extended, our offensive line is good. They may see it like that. I just don't see it like that. I feel like the more the merrier, and we need to build this thing up for the next 2 years while, Trent is, the sunset is setting on his career. And what do we do with our third round pick? We get Romeo Height, defensive end out of Texas Tech. And I don't want to knock that, but it's just another guy. I just think it's a emergency guy in case, one of our guys doesn't pan out with their injuries this year coming back. So I wasn't, overly excited about that pick. And then in the fourth round, we get defensive tackle Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma. And, that's an okay pick, but it's just kind of like, I feel like in free agency, we went after the defense, and I feel like we really did address it. We didn't address it 100%, but going into the draft, I wasn't thinking, defensive end, edge rushers. I wasn't thinking that we needed to specifically go after that. But apparently that's what we were going after. And with the defensive tackle, defensive end, and a wide receiver on all those picks, we really overreached. And that's what made the draft kind of look stupid on our part. The fact that we traded down because we didn't see what we wanted. We looked disciplined and we still overreached. Like, we drafted guys that should have been drafted around later than we, got them. Also in the fourth round, we get offensive lineman Carver Willis from Washington. And this was, I think a good pick. I was just like, finally, we're getting some O-line help. I think experts were saying that, this guy might be like a better guard. So that's where we're going to get help with that. And, that I feel like needed to be addressed, but I feel like that needed to be addressed earlier. Definitely probably going to get this guy's name wrong. But also in the fourth round, the teammate of Willis, Prysock out of Washington. And I like that pick because I feel like, a cornerback is not something that we really addressed, and I'm really loving that. It's probably was up to this point my favorite pick. Because, we really we need cornerback help. I feel like everybody looks at, Lenore as like, a really, a good guy, a big guy, or a big name guy, but I don't see that. And I just feel like we need as much help, as much as I like that we got Jack Jones, but another guy here with Prysock. I think, this could build like a really good secondary. To round up the fifth round, we got linebacker Jaden Duggar out of Louisiana, which I don't think is a bad pickup for where it was at. And we got another offensive tackle. We got Enrique Cruz Jr. out of Kansas. I like that we got that, but the things I was hearing is that, he was on Syracuse and was so inconsistent that he got benched for like a year, and then he transferred to Kansas and was really inconsistent there. So this sounds like it's going to be a project, and most of the guys that we picked up after the third round are going to be projects. So kind of a lackluster draft. And, we also ended up, trading D Winters, linebacker, to the Dallas Cowboys. To me, that almost kind of feels like a payback for the fact that Dallas traded us Osa. So we're going to hit them back with a good piece. And with signing Greenlaw and stuff, and Fred Warner coming back, our linebacker core kind of seems, solidified and solid. So I think he was someone we could do away with. So I'm not crazy mad at that. Like, he was a real good player, but, sometimes you got to move on at the right time. And I think that's what we did. And is this draft real or fugazi? This is, to me, fugazi, because, I feel like we could have done better. I feel like we could have been more military going after picks and stuff instead of overreaching, just being hopeful. And I'm not a big fan of like what we did. It felt like we were doing good, but then I feel like we just kind of crapped out and just said, screw it, let's just reach for these guys, maybe they pan out. But I guess that's the name of the game. And is it time to hit the panic button? As far as the NFL draft goes for the 49ers, I'm just waiting until we have a good one. So I really think it is time to hit the panic button. We got to figure out how we could actually have a good draft. I mean, it's just, you just go in knowing that it's going to be a crappy draft, and then you come out going, yeah, well, that's what we expected. So my authentic take of this video about the 49ers draft is basically that I feel like, we failed this draft, and look, we let a good player go. And as much as the free agency was looking good for us, I think this kind of sets us back. It doesn't set us all the way back, but we could have added some key pieces to really, upgrade our team. And I just don't think we did that. And got to see where we end up from here. Our future looks like a bunch of projects. But that's what I think. Make sure you drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This has been The Authentic Take.
The authentic take. The real, no fake. The authentic take.